I feel extremely free when I'm dancing.
Chanel continue cette tradition de Méladanse.
Le retour fondu.
Dance is an expression of the music.
Trois petits rois mi-auteurs.
Être danseur, c'est avant tout savoir se renouveler sans cesse.
Cambon Podcast.
In this new audio documentary, discover the behind the scenes of the ballet Red Carpet, the new creation of globally renowned choreographer Hofesh Shechter, that he conceived specifically for the Paris Opera stage and ballet. Ever committed to contemporary creation and dance, Chanel imagined 13 stage costumes, inspired by evening wear and cabaret for the dancers of the Paris Opera Ballet, continuing to strengthen the ties forged between the house and this institution since 2018, of which Chanel is a major patron. Listen now to Hofesh Shechter, a few days before the premiere of Red Carpet.
Dancers, can you do it from 6 from the moment everybody is joining? 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and good. Well, Red Carpet is, first and foremost, it's a dance piece. So, I know a lot of times people want to know what a dance piece is about. But for me, a dance piece is more like a dream. You have a strong feeling about where it is, about how you feel inside it, about maybe some ideas and images inside it that make you feel that you understand what's going on. But you will never really understand what's going on, like in a dream. But, obviously Red Carpet is, it has a lot of connotations for us, and it's the title that excited me to give to the piece. And title is kind of giving a clue to people about the area that we're going to be looking at, the kind of world we're going to be looking at. I was invited to do work here in Palais Garnier, and the thought about glamour, about, the glitz of the whole thing, that together with art, I think it's really interesting. I always say with my work I want to raise questions to stage and not really make a statement or bring answers. So if we ask what it is about, cannot say exactly, but I can say it will bring questions about tension between entertainment and glamour and art and what we are trying to present, and how it really feels to be alive, and to be the vulnerability of the people, of the bodies underneath all the layers that we put on. I was sitting actually in Garnier in the theater for a moment when it was empty, and I look around and I try to kind of have a feeling, I'm going to make work for this space, especially for this space, and I got very excited about the grand kind of feeling of it. And, my work is very much about the human being. It's a lot about human emotions in the backdrop of very powerful things, be it like social structures or this building that has something very grand that comes with all the tradition and the culture. And I thought, okay, that's really interesting. And yes, actually sitting there and looking at this amazing chandelier above my head, in the house, I thought, wow, it will be really interesting to bring this tension to the stage, the question and the tension between the glamour and the art. The glamour represents something that we put on, and art for me represents something that we have inside that wants to come out or that we want to share with each other. We kind of play with the energy of glamour, and in a way that is, it has maybe a bit of a dark twist to it, but it's very, very fun, and it's very energetic, and it's very, playful, I would say. It's almost going to a place that is, I won't say grotesque, but it's like we are pushing the extremity of how we play with this. And then it becomes more and more twisted and darker in a way. You know, we're kind of going into different realms, but the idea of also going through the layers of the costumes. I had a really interesting conversation with Chanel that designed it. They start with costumes that are kind of evening and a bit cabaret. There is a lot of touches there that are really beautiful. And slowly they are shedding it to much more simple, much more fragile, I would say, and vulnerable costumes that show them and show more of the body itself, the way that it is. And so the energy is between something very, very playful and something quite fragile.
The second curtain on the second group is going to open 1 second earlier. Okay, good luck. You see, it's going to be okay.
With the dancers of the Paris Opera, it was really amazing to work with them. It was a huge pleasure. We are having the time of our lives, I have to say, and obviously, I worked with them before. We did 3 works together already, but these were not new works. It was old works that were restaged on them. And after doing this for 3 times, I really felt, we both felt, Palais Garnier and myself, that it's time to do something new together, that they are ready and I'm ready to work with them to do something new, because they really know my work. And it means that the moment that I come into the studio, we can really immediately start running. It was a really fascinating project for me and process, because it's always hard in the beginning. You know, when you start a dance piece, it's like walking into the woods at night. You don't know what's going on there. You don't know where to go, where it will lead you. And you slowly have to discover the way. And we discover it together.
Show me the claps. 5, 6, very good. Douche, go. Go.
The dancers were so committed, and something about their really amazing physicality. They come into my world, they really make the effort to step into my world. But then because of their kind of supreme physicality that in essence is very different from my work, the meeting point creates a really interesting language, in a way, a bit of a new language or a way to do my work. For me, it's very exciting. It's their spirit as well. They're really willing to go deep and far. And I'm really happy we did this. So for the costumes, the creative starting point was that we want to create a world of some sort of world of glamour with hints of cabaret inside it, but also that it feels a little bit like a fantasy, like a dream. It's not a perfect evening dresses or perfect cabaret or perfect glamour, but there is almost like a mix of things. And I'm really happy to say the result is very exciting, because with costumes it's always very difficult. The starting point and the end point is not exactly what I imagined. I didn't know what to imagine, but when we were starting with the descriptions and with words and what we have now, it's really great for the piece.
Dancers, can you leave your first position, waiting for the curtain to open?
The inspiration for the costumes comes from when you start to make a piece. I sat in Garnier, I had the idea for what's the area of the work, what does it touch, and then starting to think, okay, how do we enter this world? And maybe we enter through the front door. You know, we enter through the main kind of subject of the glamour, the glitz, and we just walk in big, and then we, in a way, deconstruct from there. We kind of establish the base question of the piece, and then kind of go through the layers. So the inspiration came from that. And I'm thinking about the world of entertainment and the world of musicals. It's all intertwined, you know, in our culture. My link with fashion, if you saw my wardrobe, is very, very weak. I always wear the same trousers because I like clothes that are comfortable. But I think also that I had conversations with people about it. I'm very not fashion aware on the one hand, and it's weird because I'm in the arts, right? I have to be. But that my clothes, I think they represent or reflect something of like very laid back, it's about being comfortable and about being able to connect with people very easily, and people from all walks of life. On the one hand, a lot of times in my work, the costumes are very casual. And I thought Chanel obviously is a very well-designed, very elegant. But then I thought in red carpet, well, it's great. Maybe it's a beautiful marriage. It's like actually the right thing. And it really turned out to be, because the result is so elegant, it's so beautiful, it's still playful, but it's all just sitting so beautifully well. The piece is dealing with a question of fashion, with a question of what we're putting on, what do we try to present. Factually, the way that we worked together was, it started with meetings and with me sharing the kind of the concept of the piece and some ideas. And Chanel came back with images, with kind of like a mood board. They brought, 60 pictures, 70 pictures. It was like a big mood board. It's like on 3 tables, I put all the things that I felt are connected on one side, so we started to get a sense of a world. It was all the time kind of back and forth of Chanel, trying to, in a way, connect to my world and understand what the world needs, and then come back and basically narrowing down the world and what it is, together with a lot of things that I didn't expect. I'm not a designer. I don't know how these things work. I was really impressed with the breadth of ideas that they came with. It was fun for me because it was like a lot of options, and then for me, just like choosing just the stuff that I love. I have to say I was amazed, I'm still amazed how elegant the costumes look, and in the same time how the dancers can dance in it. Because normally the problem that we have in dance is that you get you can have a beautifully designed, trousers, a suit, a shirt, but then you need to move in it. You need to really be able to move. And in my dance, in my work, we go down to the floor and up, and there's a lot going on. It has to be very agile physically. So, I saw already in the beginning, I saw pictures of the fittings and stuff. I asked the dancers, but can you move in it? They're like, yeah, don't worry, I can plie, I can lift my leg, everything, I can do whatever you want. So I was really impressed with that aspect, that it's all done for the dancers to be comfortable and to be able to move. The costumes are a mélange of evening dress, of elements of tuxedo, cabaret, some things that feel a little bit glamorous, a little bit celebrity-like, but it's all very subtle. But because of the combination of all these things together, you kind of get a sense of a festive moment where, in a way, each person wants to present themselves in the best way they can, in the most kind of in the way that they will want everybody to see them.
Voilà, c'est ça. Le lamé, tu vois, il y a plein de matières. Peut-être cet après-midi, le bouton, je peux te le trouver. Parce que j'en ai quelques-uns. Ok. Non, c'est le même sens, mais en fait, je pense que ça dépend de la tension. Regarde, il s'éclaircit. Là, on dirait plus nude, et là, on est un peu plus blanc.
In the piece, we have the glamorous costumes, and then there is another kind of a second skin underneath it. My feeling was that in a piece where we want to go through the layers and we want to have the layers of the glitz, of the glamour, we should be able to go to the layers underneath. We should be able to go and see the body in a more pure form, in a more simple form. But I didn't want to use nudity. I wanted to become about not having clothes, which is a different thing.
Là, c'est quoi? On est en train de mettre le lycra pour mettre la robe après. Tu peux faire un peu plus.
And then we thought that it would be interesting to have another set of clothes, essentially, but that feel really bare, that feel really like they reveal the body for what it is. again, Chanel came with interesting ideas about how to make it both simple and a little bit interesting. It's like there is a level of design to it, but it's very, very subtle. When the dancers are wearing it, you feel, it's very vulnerable. It's their skin color, and it's almost like, are they naked or not? We live in a world where truth and fake and all this is like big questions, right? And it became interesting to me that even when we go nude on stage, it's kind of fake nude. It is vulnerable, it is fragile, but they are not naked. I thought it's a funny mind game that it's, in a way, the nudity becomes a concept as well. It becomes an idea.
Ouais, c'est ça. Mais c'est parce que t'as trop de hauteur au dos. Ok, d'accord. Mais ça, je vais t'en enlever tout le tour et ça va.
When I saw the dancers wearing the costumes the first time, I was very excited. I always have a lot of things to say, and here I didn't really have what to say. I was just happy how it fitted in. It did this thing that I really love, which it immediately enhanced the experience of the piece for me. The perfect costume for me is the one that serves the piece, is the one that helps us feel stronger things about what we're looking at, have a stronger, more powerful experience. My work, for example, the movement and the music are very connected. I do both. I do the music and I do the choreography. And I like that there is a real symbiosis, really connected. It's very powerful when the elements come together to tell the story. Everything is supporting the story or the feeling of the piece. The costumes for me have to be the same. The music in Red Carpet is very rich. It takes from a lot of worlds. There are elements that almost take from the pop world. Again, looking at the culture of glamour and glitz and pop and celebrity. I thought it's interesting to pull from that, but as well from many other worlds. You can feel a lot of influences in my music, and I love creating music that almost, when you listen to all of it together, you can't really say what's the style anymore. It can take from classical, it can take from Eastern, it can take from so many things. I think that's part of the joys of contemporary dance and what we can do with it. You have this freedom to create really rich worlds. You're not committed to anything in particular. So yeah, the music is just this kind of like real melange. But I would say there is probably the thread inside the music is that there is some, I won't say darkness, but everything has a bit of a twist, a bit of a melancholy, which also makes me think about cabaret, the performers inside, almost like the circus artists. There is a lot of vulnerability underneath and sometimes quite difficult life or sadness. And I think that's kind of interesting to put it again together inside the music, to have this feeling that it's powerful, it's big, but also there are very gentle aspects to it.
5, 6, ready, and
What made me choose dance over music at a certain point in my life was actually the fact that dance is something that you work on with people. You kind of celebrate it with people and you do the hard work. It's very hard work, right? You have to be very committed, but you do it with people. Whereas I was playing the piano and I understood that if I really want to, do something with it in my life, I have to practice 4 or 5 hours a day alone in a room. To me, it felt like prison. I was like, that's too much. And with dance, it's something, again, about the community and about also being really connected with people.
Dancers, can you do it from 6 from the moment everybody is joining?
So that was one aspect that made me go to the direction of dance. And the other one is that I actually didn't feel so comfortable inside my body and inside this art form because I was quite a shy kid. And it felt almost like an opportunity to get better. It was not an issue, but it was a barrier that I wanted to liberate myself. It attracted me to the world of dance and to wanting to blossom there. I think dance really has the power to get you out of your cluttery mind, out of your head. When you dance, the body is sort of quicker than the mind. And I love also making work. My work on stage, many times I'm telling people my feeling is that I want to be faster than your brain, so that when you sit and watch it, people come to theater, they're trying to understand what's going on. At a certain point, I want it to be stronger than you. You can't understand anymore. It's just coming at you, and it just keeps on coming, and it keeps on taking you places until your mind becomes quiet and you're just having an experience. I like when audience comes to my work that they get, I suppose the way to put it is that they get a sense of community. That they get somehow a sense that we are all very, very connected, that there is something very similar about the ways we feel inside in the most intimate of places. My wish really for audience is to see dance like a music concert. You're coming for the experience. You're not coming to really understand something, but you're coming to have a full-on experience where you will think some things, but you will feel a lot of things and you will sense a lot of things, and you go with that kind of flow. That's the exciting thing about dance, I think. The fact that I'm doing a lot of different things, or that I'm trying to experiment with a lot of different things like film, music, dance, choreography, it means that I can, in a way, steal from different art forms. I learn from each thing that I do and I can bring it to another art form. So for example, I work with theater a lot of times, sometimes with actors. I find it fascinating, and it kind of kicks me out of the bubble of contemporary dance, and what we do there brings me new ideas of what we can do there. Because in contemporary dance, it's open. You can do what you want. So I'm learning a lot. I'm learning from cinema, I'm learning from films, I'm learning from music artists, I'm learning from writers. Each time I jump into another art form, it feeds in to the other art forms. And for me, that's exciting. In the end of the day, all art is trying to do one thing, which is express something powerful, a reflection of our experience of life and the act of sharing it with other people. So the way you do it, really, for me, doesn't matter. If it's powerful, but you can steal tools from one to another. I love it. Dance, for me, in the purest form of it, is movement that comes from sensation. That the origin of it, that the seed of it is something that you feel inside. Not that you understand. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to explain it. It's just some sort of like the most pure transformation of energy from a feeling to physicality. And it's very interesting because then you can be in the studio and try to arrive to that pure place where you're just moving. It's not moving for nothing, but it's moving, it's quite the opposite of moving from nothing. It's moving maybe without understanding and without having words, but it's moving from something that you feel really powerfully. Dance is the most pure art form because your tool to express how you feel is you. And in a way, you don't want it to go through the brain, you want it to go just through your body, just through you. It cannot lie.
Cambon Podcast.